This is Jack Kerouac.
In this book, you seem to have a wonderfully good time, and you seem to have it by turning your back on all the things that the bourgeoisie have to contend with. What are the things you most like to turn your back on? Though you say the devil has been defeated, who are the devils that make you turn your back? Do you like politics?
No.
Do you like the Republican Party?
I like Eisenhower as a man.
You
Great
do,
man.
huh? He's a great man?
Nice man.
Why you think he's a nice man?
He's the kind of man that, you'd like to shake hands with. He's a nice man. You know he's a nice man. I don't know anything about politics.
Mr. Eisenhower, but I don't think he's a great man or even an intelligent
man. Probably is.
Man.
The American people probably don't realize what he's doing.
What's he doing?
I don't know. We'll figure it out in 50 years. 50 years you can look back.
I think he's one of the leaders of the Beat generation. I think he's turned his back on us, just as you boys have.
No.
Probably the same reason. Are you going to vote the next election?
I've never voted.
Well, how can you think of any one politician is better than another? Wouldn't that lure you into casting a ballot?
I shouldn't be proud of never having voted, but I never have. I don't know what's the matter.
I can understand. I only voted once and under protest.
You too?
Yeah, once. For the wrong guy.
Where?
Roosevelt. You like Ike, you think he's adorable. What do you think of his pals? There's a fellow called Dulles who creates...
Well, he spent a whole lifetime learning all the techniques of...
He's great, too?
Oh, he's a great technician.
Yeah. At what?
Running the Secretary of State office, running the...
You boys have had your backs turned.
No, I don't agree.
Happily,
I don't agree with my confrères, about politics.
Oh, they're against, and
they have the same ideas you have.
They have, huh?
All of them.
Bad ones, huh?
No. There's no reason to criticize anybody, actually. We're all going to go to heaven.
We are?
All of us.
Me too?
Everything, even the microphone.
I like that.
You too.
Okay,
and your cigar.
I couldn't do without it. Jack, have you ever been in trouble with the government forces that you like so well? I gather not, because you seem too full of human kindness. Has the government ever got sore or interested in the Beat generation? You think there'll ever be a time when you boys will be hailed up and you'll have to swear that you never belonged to the Beat generation or belong to it now? You think they'll ever get after Buddha?
Gee, they can't get to him.
They can't? Well, they keep trying to get to a lot of things that they can't get to.
Buddha, his lifetime, nobody ever laid a hand on him.
You think he's safe? You think it's safe worshiping Buddha? You think you boys are out of the reach of our law enforcers by worshiping Buddha?
I don't only worship Buddha.
Whom else?
I worship Christ, and I worship Allah, and I worship Yahweh, who is the Father. I worship them all. Where
did you get this worship instinct? Because I read your book.
Well, I was born...
I think it's real. I think you really worship.
In a religious home.
I see. Well,
my father was very sensitive.
I was pleased to read in your book that sex didn't exist outside of the realm of worshippers, too.
What?
I said worshippers do not necessarily not go in for sex, which is usually the rule.
Well, they should.
They should. You think sex helps worship along?
No, both are necessary.
They're not
including
separate.
The jinn.
The jinn, huh? You boys love life, providing you don't have to be hurt by it. Is that one of your ideas?
No, we've been hurt.
Who hurts you?
Hunger. I've been starving many times on the road and everything.
Yeah. Did you... You've written a lot of books, haven't you? I hear you got about 4 or 5 books that haven't been published yet.
That's right.
And you write 10 hours a day?
No, I've been writing since I'm 11.
11.
But, I just went through a furious 3 years when I thought I'd be like Shakespeare and write 3 masterpieces a year.
Well, that's not being very back-turning when you write 10 hours a day and 3 masterpieces a year. What makes they beat people if they are the people in your last book, the Dharma Bums? What makes them climb Dharma Bums? Okay. What makes them climb mountains, look at their navel, and yell Why do they go in for mysticism?
They don't look at their navels.
They don't. Whose navel they look at? I read in your book there's a new cult called, not cult, but a new word called yam. What's that?
Yab yum.
Yab yum.
That comes from Tibet. It's an ancient ceremony.
It pleased me, this new thing, because I remember it in my youth.
It's old.
A lot of boys and one girl. Is there any...
No, one man and one girl, and priests chanting around, beating on drums.
One man and one girl?
Yeah, that's all in the middle.
I read a party that you described with, I think it was 5 men and one girl.
Well, that was a sloppy yab yum.
Sloppy. It should be just one and one?
Yeah.
That's depressing. Because I figured out, being an amateur psychiatrist, that had something to do with homosexuality.
Oh, no.
It hasn't.
No.
This is not a personal attack. Having a good look at your puss, I wouldn't even think of making such a suggestion.
That's one thing I'm not, is homosexual.
Have you an opinion or an attitude about homosexuals?
They can do what they want. They should.
Are they productive and constructive people like the rest of the world?
I could name you names.
Yeah, we will not go into
Great,
that.
creative,
yeah.
Including Socrates.
Yeah, Socrates. Who else? My God, Julius Caesar. Like Hergus, the head of Sparta. I knew them all. What do you think about people who don't climb the mountain, don't have mysticism? What do you think about a fellow like me who, on a treadmill, always try to make a little money?
Nah, you lived a wonderful life.
I have.
Yeah, I could write a book about the way you've lived. A newspaper man, traveling around writing scripts, plays. People throwing roses at you.
Looks like I was fishing for something, but I wasn't.
No.
What turned you boys to the Buddha? Was it that you thought that the Christian civilization was a pretty silly thing? And that a religion, the Christian religion, which has possibly produced maybe 800 million murders, crucifixions, auto-defes, wasn't quite as spiritual?
That's one thing I thought of, because in Buddhism there's not been one crusader, not one crusading war.
Buddhism never hurt anyone.
Never.
Christianity has torn the world apart. There have been almost...
Yeah, but that was because of charlatans who came in and took it over from Peter.
Who's to judge? They don't seem like charlatans when they're in the box. They just seem like people in charge. Later they turn out charlatans.
An awful lot of people.
The fellows that burned Joan didn't seem like charlatans to Joan, I bet you.
Peter was a fisherman.
Yeah. One thing I noticed in the writings of you and your pals, Mr. Ginsberg particularly, is that you have an affinity for Negroes. Is it that the Negro is an authentic, automatic beat without having to put on a title?
Yeah, he is the original beat character.
He's the one that starts. He's outside. He's born with
He's full of glee, if you noticed,
Glee over what?
Well, he has a lot of fun. You've noticed the way that Negroes have a lot of fun. They also
I'm afraid I've gotten away. I've only heard professional Negroes talk lately. I didn't heard the boys we used to hear in Chicago.
That's right.
They were very happy.
Very happy. They still are.
They still are. I remember did you ever have a place called Sunset Number 1 in Chicago?
No.
Black and tan joints? Oh, they were very happy there. There was no Negro problem.
Yab yum?
Yes, not the yab yum you wrote in your book. No. Now, another thing in your book fascinated me. You wrote about drugs very charmingly and honestly as sort of holy water for the beat generation. What drugs did you use? And where'd you get them? How much did they cost?
Well,
are they expensive?
I know a lot of people who take them, and I know all the facts about it. Yeah, now they're expensive, yeah.
Are drugs as vicious and horrifying as the propagandists make out?
Yeah, the drugs that you take through the needle are vicious and horrifying.
You got to smoke them, sniff them, or what?
Well, also sleeping pills are vicious and horrifying.
Yeah, I take
worst of all.
Yeah, I take those. I'm the worst offender. I can't stand them, but I take them.
Never take 3.
No, not unless I want to say goodbye.
No, in a way.
6 are goodbye. Jack.
Well, actually 50.
50 are goodbye? No.
50.
We had a lot of beats in our time. Didn't wear that title. Did you ever hear of the Dill Pickle Club in Chicago?
No, I've never been to Chicago.
Well, fame gets around you. Jack Jones, you never heard of him?
Jack Jones?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Jack Reed.
I knew Jack Reed, yes. He was a great reporter who preferred Russia to the United States. God knows why.
And who was Jack Jones?
Jack Jones ran the Dill Pickle Club. He was an ex-sailor. He assembled maybe 300 people in a little barn, gave them a place to sleep, and a podium from which to recite their poems.
That's nice. They're doing that now.
They're doing that now. Well, we did that in Chicago in 1920. Tell me, is this mysticism really a religious training, or is it a ruse to avoid the flings and arrows of our time? Most mystics have put a hat on right over their ears so they wouldn't see what's going on.
It's hard to say.
Do you like the world? Not the people.
I like the essence of the world, but not the world itself.
Do you like its organizations, its advertising factotums, its automobiles, its assembly line souls? It's bad.
Well, it's silly.
Let's remove it, huh?
But it feeds me. It brings me cans of pork and beans and stuff.
Briefly, you'll find out you're going to starve again after this new book, The Dharma Bums, runs its course. You got to be from hunger. Authors never get fed. They always have to beg and plead. I asked you this before. How do people get involved in your group, and is it growing? How does one
I was going to say,
how do you qualify as a beat fellow?
It's not a bohemian generation. It's like the Lost Generation. Contains millions of people. There were millions of bathtub gins and flappers and raccoon coats.
Yeah.
Now there are millions of black slacks and ponytails. And
you're ahead of those.
No, I'm saying the beat generation, the bohemian has always been with us, even in the days of Walt Whitman.
That's right.
And there's only a few thousand bohemians ever.
But usually the bohemian or the beat or the lost generation came after a war, and you boys seem to have beat the gun. You
was
come
Rembrandt
before the next war. Rembrandt? No, he was an artist, a painter.
And the people who hung around him were bohemians.
Kibitzers.
Were they bohemians?
They were maybe soft touches for a good painter. Half the painter lives on that. But are you boys afraid of the next war? Worried about it? Do you look forward?
I don't think there'll be one.
Why not?
Because things are in good hands.
You think if there were enough beats who do a spiritual sit-down strike, civilization could be spared another war? Nobody would attend?
That's too hysterical.
You don't believe in asserting yourself?
History will work its way out. Everybody will come together. The whole world will come together, East and West.
You think so, huh?
If it doesn't come out, you can crawl up to me in a pit and
who shall be the little child that leads them, Mr. Dulles?
The little child will lead them in a cart drawn by two white lambs.
You think God